where we count down the top 5 coolest, most compelling stories of the past month related to life beyond the stars. With more and more sightings of UFOs happening across the globe, we aim to be your go-to resource for the most eye-opening images and reports of extraterrestrial life. Everything from footage of unexplainable spacecrafts to newly uncovered evidence of visitors from another galaxy. If it's out there, you'll find it in here. In this edition, we find we might be getting some messages from outer space, that we might not want to look above for aliens, but below, and that more former government officials are ready to talk about extraterrestrial life. Let's get to it.
Number 5.
The year 2036 seems pretty far away, but the older you get, the more you realize time flies whether you're having fun or not. So keeping that in mind, it won't be too long before we actually receive proof of alien life, at least according to one astrophysicist. Seth Shostak is the senior administrator at the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute in Mountain View, California. So the man knows a thing or two about seeking out ETs. The Institute's computers get more and more advanced practically every year, which leads Shostak to believe it'll be under 20 years before we find actual alien life. To quote Shostak, SETI doubles in speed roughly every 2 years because the speed is largely dependent on computers. So just follow Moore's law, and I bet everybody a cup of Starbucks that we'll find something by 2036. First off, we're not sure what Moore's law is, but we'll take Seth's word for it. Second off, we'll gladly buy him and anyone else a cup of coffee if it means we find something out there by then. And why the year 2036 in particular? Shostak explains it's because, based on the ever-increasing speed of their computers, they'll have searched approximately 1 million star systems by that time, and 1 million is a pretty good number to bet on. So if you don't mind waiting a few more years, mark 2036 on your calendar. It could be a big one. Of course, we'd like to think definitive proof comes before then. Heck, maybe it's right around the corner.
Number 4.
Are aliens out there already phoning us? At home?
Oh. E.T. phone home.
Astronomers working on the Breakthrough Listening Project, an unprecedented $100 million research project that seeks out evidence of extraterrestrial life, recently received some rather interesting information in the form of radio waves coming from an undetermined source in the sky. To be more specific, from Proxima Centauri, the closest star to the Sun. While the star has been on astronomers' radar for years, pun intended, this is the very first such time they've received anything like this. A narrow beam of waves emitting from that area were picked up by the Parkes telescope in Australia in April and May of last year. While such radio waves end up having logical origins, such as human interference, cell phones, and other earthbound technology, but this narrow beam has intrigued astronomers because of its size and shift in frequencies. At the time of this recording, they haven't figured out just what it is yet. Proxima Centauri is 4.2 light years away from Earth, which isn't all that far in terms of the vastness of the galaxy. Although, of course, it's possible the signal isn't coming from the star itself, but from something beyond it. At any rate, it appears we'll have to wait until the Breakthrough Listening Project gathers more evidence. They're currently writing a paper on their findings. Still, one individual in the astronomy community told The Guardian, quote, "It's the first serious candidate since the WOW signal," a reference to the legendary 72-second signal discovered by the Big Ear radio telescope in 1977. Still considered the most compelling evidence of contact from beyond the stars to this day.
Number 3.
In recent months, it's become increasingly clear that government officials across the globe are willing to acknowledge just how invested they are in investigating extraterrestrial life, and how much they already know about it. Now,
aliens exist and President Trump knows about it.
A former high-ranking official from Israel is topping Reed with some eye-popping statements. A retired Israeli officer named Haim Eshed has said in an interview that not only have we made contact with visitors from another world, we've been working alongside them in some mysterious capacity.
He has called them the Galactic Federation of aliens,
which is apparently comprised of humans and, beings not of this Earth. The Shed goes so far as to say there's a secret underground base on Mars where humans and alien representatives congregate.
And he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets.
These details haven't been revealed before, according to the professor, because humanity needs to, quote, evolve. He goes on to admit that even as recently as 5 years ago, saying these things would have gotten him hospitalized. Now, he's comfortable exposing this Galactic Federation because, quote, today they're already taking things differently. With all the recent disclosures about UFOs recently, perhaps it's not crazy to think we'll be hearing more about the Galactic Federation soon. After all, the US did just establish a Space Force.
Number 2.
John Brennan, who was director of the CIA between March 2013 and November 2017. And before that, he was a high-ranking figure in President Obama's Homeland Security and Counterterrorism cabinet. That's all to say, this is a serious man who had some serious jobs. And, like other retired officials before him, he's got his own things to say about extraterrestrials, speaking mostly about the now widely circulated videos released by the U.S. Navy showing fighter pilots encountering unexplainable aircrafts in the sky. Brennan admits they're eyebrow-raising and hard to explain, saying, quote,
I think it's a bit presumptuous, if not arrogant, for us to believe that there's no other form of life anywhere in the entire universe. It might, in fact, be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't yet understand, and that could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life.
And while we might forgive the former CIA director for not outright saying what we all wanted him to say, this is definitely a good start. And what about Obama? He was recently asked by Stephen Colbert if he asked about the existence of UFOs during his time as president.
UFOs? Any UFOs? Did you ask about that?
Certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you. Sorry.
Okay, all right, I'll take that as a yes.
In addition, Obama said,
It used to be that UFOs was the, what is it, Roswell was the biggest conspiracy.
Yeah.
And now that seems so tame, right?
Right.
The idea that
Right.
the government might have an alien spaceship. That's
now the
nothing.
biggest conspiracy is people in Michigan vote.
just what are you hinting at, Barack?
Number 1.
And we're not done with the government just yet. Let's hope we don't get in trouble for this edition. A really fascinating report, published by the website The Debrief, gets deep into the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. Yep, there goes those UAPs again, offering a very thorough, if speculative, look at perhaps the most secretive investigations going on in the US government right now. There is a lot of info to sift through, and it's worth reading the entirety of it on your own. But we'd like to highlight a particularly extraordinary account with a UAP that a military fighter pilot allegedly had. According to The Debrief, the UAP task force obtained a photograph taken with a pilot's iPhone of a triangular aircraft that came out of the ocean. We have what is supposedly a photograph, as well as an artist's rendering, of the thing. A, quote, large equilateral triangle with rounded or blunted edges and large, perfectly spherical white lights in each corner. The photo was taken by the presumably shocked pilot after it emerged from the ocean, on its way to ascending straight upwards at a 90-degree angle. Unfortunately, we don't have more than that at the moment. But it leads to another interesting tangent. One not about UFOs or UAPs, but USOs, unidentified submerged objects, or unidentified trans-medium vehicles capable of operating both underwater and in the air. The debrief sources, 3 officials, said there was a report that signaled the task force's concerned objects being described as UAPs actually originate from the ocean. Evidently, USO sightings aren't super uncommon, just not as common as UFOs, and not as widely reported. Could there be actually UFOs laying in wait underneath the earth we walk on, or in the water we travel above? Remember in War of the Worlds, when they established that the ships were already here, they just needed to send the pilots? Scary when you think about it. Also kind of cool. That's it for now, folks. The truth is out there, somewhere, and we're going to be keeping an eye on things for all you true believers. And if you have anything to share with us, don't hesitate to send us an email at ufoshow@joeblow.com. We're eager to hear from all our fellow UFO and outer space enthusiasts. Also, please share your thoughts and any cool extraterrestrial news you have in the comments section. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as we're going to be your one-stop shop for all things alien going forward. Until next month, keep watching the skies.